Bonjour à tous and welcome back to Frenchified with a French dude. Unlocking fluency with Coach Sam. If you want to talk about what you did, saw, ate, bought, or experienced in the past in French, one of the most important tenses you need is the Passé Composé. For example, j'ai mangé, I ate or I have eaten. J'ai regardé un film, I watched a movie. Nous avons travaillé, we worked. Je suis allé, I went. But here's the good news. Forming the passé composé is actually quite simple. You mainly need two things. First, the auxiliary verb plus the past participle. Now, let's learn the auxiliary verb. French uses two auxiliary verbs in the passé composé. Avoir, to have, être, to be. The majority of French verbs uses avoir. You need to master your present tense conjugation. That's the j'ai, tu as, il a, all for even with être. Now, here is the basic formula. We say subject plus auxiliary verb, avoir or être, plus past participle. For example, j'ai mangé. So j'ai is the auxiliary avoir, that's in the present tense, and manger is the past participle of manger. More examples. J'ai parlé, I spoke or I have spoken. Tu as fini, you finished or you have finished. Nous avons vendu, we sold. And we some verbs form their passé composé with être. We call them Dr. Mrs. Van der Trump, they are just 16. Or verbs of movement and change of state. That is a movement from point A to point B. When we talk about to go, to come, there must be a movement. Now, example, je suis venu, I came. Elle est partie, she left. Nous sommes arrivés, we arrived. And when you use être, the past participle generally agrees with the subject. Il est venu, elle est venue. Now there is an E to identifier feminine. Ils sont venus, S for plural. Elles sont venues, E and S for to show that it's a group of female. How do you form the past participle? This is where things becomes interesting. For regular verb, you can usually predict the past participle. For example, er verb replace er with e accent aigu. That's e with an acute accent. Now you can see it in parler. Parler changes to parler with e accent aigu. Manger, manger. Travailler, travailler. The sound is the same. For regular er verb, you generally replace ir with I. So fini becomes fini. Choisi becomes choisi. Same pronunciation also. And for regular er verb, you generally replace re with you. Vend becomes vendu. Acton becomes actendu. But here's the most important part. Not all French verbs are completely regular. And here is where past participle pattern can save you a lot of memorization. Let's learn them in their families. Now, instead of memorizing every irregular verb separately, learn families of verb. For example, once you know prone, which is pre, now every verb ending in prone often follows the same pattern. For instance, apprendre changes to appris. Comprendre changes to compris. Another useful family is the INDRE family. You can see it in joindre, attendre, and craindre. So now, in their past participle, it changes to, for joindre, it changes to joint. Attendre changes to attend. Craindre changes to craint. Now, let's look at the mettre family. So, mettre changes to me. Admettre changes to admis. Commettre changes to commis. Another useful family is the CRIRE. Now, you can see it in écrit, and écrit changes to écrit. Décrit, décrit. Inscrire, inscrit. Transcrire, transcrit. Also, the veni family, veni changes to venu. Devenir changes to devenu. Tenir, tenu. So the voir family, voir changes to view. Revoir changes to review. Prévoir changes to preview. Recevoir, reçu. Percevoir, perçu. Décevoir, déçu. So we have the lire family. Lire changes to lieu. Élire, élure. Relire, relire. The conduit family. Conduit changes to conduire. Traduire, traduire. Construire, construire. The connaître family. Connaître, connu. Reconnaît, reconnu. The acquérir family. Acquérir changes to acquis. Conquérir, conquer. Requérir, require. And finally, the dire family. Dire changes to dire. Contredire, contredire. Interdire, interdire. So remember the three steps. Step one, choose your auxiliary verb, avoir or être. Step two, find the past participle. Step three, put them together. For instance, j'ai plus parlé gives us j'ai parlé. I spoke. Je suis plus allé gives us je suis allé, which is I went. And instead of memorizing hundreds of verbs individually, start learning them in families. This is one of the best ways to make French passé composé much easier to remember. Like we said, petit à petit, l'oiseau fait son nid. Merci d'avoir regardé et à la prochaine.